even in the discussion, we've already had big debates of what questions to ask and what not, right? This is going to go the wrong way and all that. But I'm privileged to be here with very strong ladies, successful in their fields. And we have Sarah, Beverly, and Emma there. And I'm not going to try to introduce them myself because they have a long, successful history in their careers. So what I'm going to ask them to do is give a brief introduction, focus on what you think you want to portray about yourselves now. And because Sarah was here 2 years ago in the same panel, I'm going to start with her and requesting also to give her views about what has changed over the past 2 years. Go ahead.
Sure. So, hi everyone. Really an honor to be here back home in Kuala Lumpur, where I'm originally from. So I'm based in the US right now. At this moment, I am the principal of FedTech, where we actually commercialize deep technologies across NASA, backed by the Department of Defense, DOE, federal and national labs, where we bring deep tech into the commercial light. You might know that the internet, GPS, infant formula, a lot of those technologies actually came out from the Department of Defense, and really excited to be doing my work there. And at the same time, I'm also the co-founder of the $1 Billion Fund for Women, where we are all about venture capital and investing in women. We are a global consortium of venture capital funds that have made the commitment to invest in women-founded companies, not because it's the right thing to do, but because it's a smart thing to do. And of course, being a native Malaysian, my roots are very deep and strong here. I have some of my strong ladies in the team from Lean In Malaysia, where we are a platform to educate, enable, and empower women into leadership. And I have to say, having been here again, sort of 2 years back, and having been here now, I've seen a great change in terms of the positivity, the results. Only 2 years ago, we were talking about women in leadership as the right thing to do. But now we're starting to see the results from all the investments that we're making through the funds. And I'll be happy to speak a little bit more about that. And I'm happy to see almost equal representation here, because all of you, women on the rise, are decision makers. You're influencing the checks. You're writing those checks. And you're making a difference. So really glad to be back home here and really honored. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. So, Emma and Sarah are from the investment side, and then Beverly Hill is from the operations, digital side, right? So I want to go with you, Beverly, and I want to ask, this angle about women. I know Sarah set the stage just now. Is it a marketing angle? Is it real? Are they real challenges that you see, or differences that you see? What's the reality that you see yourself through your experience?
Well, good morning, everybody. It's really an honor to be here on stage alongside with these really, really wonderful female leaders. So I'm very, very excited to be here. It's a big topic that we have today, and we don't have too much time, so I'm going to try to keep it a little bit short. But I think there are a lot of really wonderful programs out there today, and I think that every little bit really helps. So I'm not gonna, sit here and say, oh, everything has to be done a certain way. I think that any progress forwards is really positive progress. And in the climate that we're in today, with the Me Too movement and Lean In and a lot of these really positive programs, I think there's no better time than now to really show that women have a voice. They need to be empowered to use it, and people need to be encouraged to listen. So I'm really proud to say that, at AppsFlyer specifically, for example, we're launching our Women's Leadership Program this year, which I'm thrilled about. And I think that these are really, really critical steps forwards.
I'm with Golden Equator Capital, and I think I'm proud to say that the founding team of Golden Equator is 2 female. So we have a very balanced team when it comes to who is investing in those companies. And we currently have 2 funds. Our first fund was a 2015 vintage. And when I'm looking into the founding team of those companies, it's mainly male. We don't have much female from this fund. It's 10 companies. And then we have a second fund, which is the fund we're investing out of now, which we started investing in 2017. And we currently have 3 companies in that portfolio. And I'm proud to say that 2 of those companies are led by female. So founding team that are female. So it would be 66%. So there's been a big changes, I think, as we are seeing time pass by, in terms of having more companies that are all female founders team. that basically get invested and manage to get some traction from venture capital firm. I think the other observation that I would like to make is when we are looking into our first fund, the all-male founding team, we also see that over the years, they have been starting to hire for key management position. And as they are starting to hire for key management position, we start to see female that are being hired to join those teams. So we see a lot more balance when it comes to the profile of founders, leading to more role models.
So I want Sarah to comment on this. And just to give background, all these ladies have been in multiple countries in terms of their career. So they give a perspective from all angles. You want to comment on that, Sarah?
Sure. So let me set the stage a little bit more in terms of fleshing this out. What I want to sort of convey today is really how investing in women is really a business strategy. And let me break that down. Investing in women is the largest arbitrage opportunity of our lifetime. What am I talking about? Number one, women in leadership strengthens the bottom line. The MSCI looked at companies that had gender diverse teams and returns and saw that there was a strong correlation with ROE of 10% as compared to 7% where there wasn't women in strong leadership. When you talk about venture capital, you talk about startups, the world we all care so much about. First Round Capital did a 10-year project where they studied over 300 companies in their portfolio and found that by having just one female founder in the mix, as compared to all male teams, the outperformance is 63%. Valuations rise. Mass Challenge and BCG looked at 350 companies and saw that whilst women tend to get less in terms of investment because perhaps they ask for less, and I have so much data to talk about that, but we just don't have the time, but they are delivering twice the revenue with less invested. So what does this say? This says that investing in women just makes business sense. And as you know, I'm also co-founder of the $1 Billion Fund for Women. I'm going to call out one of our fund partners, Gobi Partners, studied their portfolio companies over the last 2 years and found that in Southeast Asia, across ASEAN, women in teams, in startup teams, performed 2.5x more in revenue as compared to all-male teams. And Shannon Kalayanamit, my good friend who's leading the venture initiative to invest in female founders, just knows that this is the right thing to do. And the whole group of Gobi Partners are out there to back women because, hey, like Emma said, I'm talking about financial returns, and I want to put my dollar behind the best team. And that team happens to be a gender diverse one. Number two, the she economy is something for us to think about. All of you have wives, are in relationships, and you know that if your wife, your significant other, that's a woman, isn't writing the checks, she's definitely influencing it. And you better be nodding your head if you're a good husband. The truth is, women control 85% of consumer purchases and 75% of consumer spending today. And that is from automotive, healthcare, household, everything, technology. So don't be thinking, it's just fashion, she's interested in clothes. She's thinking about what her parents want, your aging parents, what are the healthcare choices that are to be made. And also, women are continuously on the rise. By 2030, 2/3 of the wealth in the United States will be held by women. There will be the largest transfer of wealth to millennials, some of you out here, and women. 32% by next year of wealth will be held by women. And this means that we control the wealth and therefore are going to continue to influence the investments that we see in the world and fueling the innovations we want to see in the world. And bringing it back to sort of the local context in Hong Kong, an interesting fact I came across was that 50% of private bankers that have the managing director title are women, where they handle wealthy Chinese investors. What does this all say? It all says that women are the emerging market that we need to pay attention to because we are going to be larger than the GDP of China and India combined. Think about that.
The men's going to hate me for this. Now, Beverly, can you comment on that based on operational, because the interaction at the operational level is more direct, blah, 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 and all that.
Yeah, definitely. I think what's interesting about what Sarah said is that we know the purchasing power of women, right? And to state kind of the obvious, women are more than half of the population. So if you're excluding women, you're excluding a massive, massive market, essentially, as she was saying. So I think we also need to take into account the cultural context of the differences as we see them across markets as well. So Sarah referred to China. You know, what's really interesting about countries like China is that women contribute some 41% to the country's GDP, according to a study by Deloitte, which is more than most regions in the world, including North America, where we see as, you know, very vocal and really progressive as it pertains to women's advocacy and women's equality and things like that. So then you know, I want to switch tack a little bit and look at a country like Rwanda, where 61% of parliamentarians there are women. And the point that I want to make with this is that it's all interconnected, right? So what does that mean when there's more or equal balanced representation in the government? That means that there are also more laws out there promoting and protecting women's rights, right? Their right to education, and then how they'll be able to have access to career opportunities, and in turn how that feeds into the economy. So I think that it's all really related, and I think we can all see the opportunity there.
Okay, we don't have much time. I'm going to leave comments from these ladies, and the question I want to ask is, you know, in reality, in the Southeast Asian region, there's still more, the unicorns are still dominated by men founders. That's just the reality of the situation, right? So, you know, given that it's a business strategy, that's the thesis, right? What are your recommendations or thoughts for the women entrepreneurs and professionals out there? Starting from you, Emma.
Absolutely. So I think it's about to change. I think we all seen Zillingo that's approaching probably the $1 billion mark with female founder. But I think for the woman out there, I think I would probably have a few recommendations. I think one thing that we tend to see is women being a bit conservative and sometimes underselling when coming to raise money from venture investors as opposed to male team. So don't undersell yourself, come and ask for what you want. I think probably another thing that is important is usually I tend to see some women being more afraid to fail. So don't be afraid to fail, it's normal. You don't have much to lose, just go ahead, be confident and ask for what you want. And I think the third point that I would give as advice is data is not gender biased. So when you come and you have a pitch and you're pitching your business, don't be afraid to just rely on the facts. So present, let's say, this is my company, this is what we achieved, these are the numbers, this is the growth, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of traction amongst investors.
Thanks, Emma. Sarah?
Well, where do I even begin? I have to say that I want to start with addressing the men in the room as well. Thank you so much for being here. I think it's important to have, actually I insisted on having a male moderator at least to balance things out, because the truth is, this is, as I said, a business strategy. It's part of innovation, it's part of society. It's not an issue to be put on the sidelines because, oh, it's women, right? It's about how we're going to build robust businesses that are sustainable, that will continue to make a long-lasting impact. And I think that it's so important to have all voices in the room, including male champions, because you know what? You definitely have a mother, number one, that you respect, I hope. You definitely will have a sister, a colleague, or somebody that you're working with that has a different lens than you do. And I'm not here to differentiate men and women. Heck, if 10 years down the line I'm still at this panel, I will shoot myself, because I'm hopeful that things would have changed, that we are embracing the fact that diversity is just good for business, is what we need to do, because by not investing in women, we're leaving out 50% of the population, by the way, as Bev said, 50% of the innovation that we could enjoy, 50% more of problems that can be solved. And this is a collective issue that all of you are part of. Number two, for the women on the rise, you are the next wave. Do not underestimate yourself and always put yourself out there, even though it's scary. I've done that. And I have a group of women that I'm so proud of that are sitting here with me today. Woo!
Thank you, Sarah. Beverly?
Wow, how do we follow that? Incredible woman over here. I'm so excited to be sharing this stage with them, as I mentioned before. You know, to me, and as I watch women and these types of conversations that happen, I think that it's absolutely critical to have advocates and to have role models like these women here to look up to and really shatter what we call the glass ceiling, right? So I think as a piece of advice to go along with what Em said as well is that don't be afraid to want more. I think that you can have it all and focus not only on these challenges that we all know exist, but also on what is the opportunity there to strive to be better, to achieve more, and continue in that vein. So it's really exciting to see the traction that this conversation has gained. I mean, it's a really hot topic today, and how fantastic, that it's making dinner table conversation, that we're talking about it today. And as Sarah said, it's so important that we have the men there to champion these female leaders as well, to continue that kind of a cycle and multiplier effect that we see happening today.
Look, I'm not even trying to conclude what was discussed here. I hope the richness of the discussion, was transparent, was clear to everyone. Let's give a big round of applause to these strong ladies. Thank you so much.